our operations against NVEs, as you're referring to, has been historically high, and we've taken down multiple NVE rings, including 764 rings, who are harming children and causing them to be mutilated. And
Last question: suicide. Can you explain why you
are? So you hear him talking about NVEs, right? Mm-hmm. Let me start with the beginning of this. I don't know why I didn't play.
Sorry, which story?
764 group, the Baltimore agents were investigating.
The 764 group, okay. And then he talked about violent NVEs. NVEs are an acronym for nihilistic violent extremists. It's this new phenomenon. Well, not new, but it's like been gaining ground online. It's these groups that are very much into Satanism. They're like little cults that pop up, but they, exactly like their name says, they're nihilists and they believe in violence and they commit terrorist acts. And they were asking about that because Kash Patel has been investigating a lot of these groups, and they actually mentioned it in the hearing today when he was asked by, I forget who this is, but he was asked about the Discord groups that they were that they found out about that he was talking in. I'll play that a little.
Closest to the suspect are going to hopefully know the most about the suspect and his beliefs and his ideology. On top of that, unfortunately, it has been leaked that there was a Discord chat, and for those unfamiliar with it, it's a gaming chat room online that the suspect participated in. So what we're doing, we've already done, is sort of legal process, not just on Discord, so that the information we gathered is sustained and held in a evidentiary posture that we could use in prosecution should it be decided to do so. And we're also going to be investigating anyone and everyone involved in that Discord chat.
Okay, very good. I see the public reports that the Discord thread had as many as 20 additional users. It sounds like you're trying to run down all of that to see if that's accurate, who else may have been on that thread, what they may have known. Is that fair to say?
It's a lot more than that. We're running them all down.
It's a lot more than 20?
Yes, sir.
And you're running all of that together?
Every single one.
So more than 20 people in this Discord server that he was communicating with even after all of this happened. And they're finding out that a lot of this extremism is being cultivated in these servers. And this goes back to like 2019, 2020, even linking to a lot of the other, like the Buffalo shooting. Remember when that guy drove to Buffalo and just mass murdered all those black people? Mm-hmm. A lot of that is linked to the same type of thing. And then I think the Christchurch shooters. And remember, a lot of those people were what? Transgender, LGBT aligned. This guy had a transgender.
The last 5 mass shooters.
And all of these people are coming from this, are linked to these groups. There's a report now. The FBI has not ruled out that others may have helped radicalize Charlie Kirk's alleged killer. Agents are combining through chat logs and dark web activity and the suspect's affiliations, because there was people online, transgender people, that were saying, oh, Charlie Kirk is coming to our town. Something big is going to happen. Like they were saying it beforehand. Like they had prior knowledge to this. That takes me to what I discovered about like this cult, which stems from, like in the 1970s, there was this cult that emerged called the Order of the Nine Angles. Have you guys ever heard of this? It's a satanic like accelerist occult, esoteric accelerationist occult. It's this phenomenon where people believe, again, nihilist beliefs, that they believe that they have to bring about the destruction of the world through chaos and through like just committing these extreme acts, where whether it has to do with just like mass murders, whether it has to do with child stuff, just human sacrifice, animal sacrifice. It's a satanic cult, but they believe that they're going to usher in these dark gods that will then rule over the planet, and then they will be their soldiers. As you know, the more you can do to create this chaos to usher them in, you will have a higher ranking status. They actually call it sainthood that you get. And this order, it started in the 1970s, but then it was in the UK, and then it ended up like spreading throughout Europe, and then ended up getting hijacked by more extremist and Satanist cults, and then kind of reemerged online through these dark web chat servers on Discord. So I'm gonna play this video because you heard the chairman talk about the 764 group, right? Mm-hmm. So this is the group that kind of like emerged in the United States that is connected to all of this accelerationist, nihilist, violent extremist groups, satanic, ritualistic cult. Let me just play a little bit of this and we can discuss it.
Kind of. Things have gotten a little bit hot over the past few weeks, and it's come to my attention that there are some really bad people out there who really don't like me. And it would be a shame if something happened to me before I could tell my story about how I stumbled onto a very real satanic pedophile cult known as 764.
"764 didn't begin as a movement. It began with a teenager. Bradley Cadenhead was 15 when he created the group from his bedroom in Stephenville, Texas. Online, he went by the name Felix, using 764 from his town's zip code. But what that name came to represent would stretch far beyond a single location. His behavior had been escalating for years. At 8, he was already watching adult content. Soon after, it shifted toward violent content, torture videos, gore, anything brutal. And by the time he was 13, he had already been placed on juvenile probation for talking about shooting up a middle school. The next year, he violated the terms and was sent to a juvenile facility. Probation reports showed a steady decline. Cadenhead refused to participate in counseling. He assaulted his mother, he left home without permission, and was eventually hospitalized after ingesting large quantities of Tylenol and cough syrup. Nothing improved. His world got smaller, and when it did, the internet filled in the gaps. He spent most of his time online. Minecraft led him to Discord, and on Discord, he found something else. A server called Cult, spelt CVLT.
Now, I want to point out that when he was playing Minecraft, he met another quote unquote supposedly boy his age, but what we're finding out and what Cash Patel was talking about is that these people pose as children on these games, but they're really adults a lot of times, and they target these kids, and then they start talking to them about pornography. They start talking to them about showing them graphic content and sending stuff back and forth, and then they invite them into these servers. And this boy got invited into this cult server on Discord, and then he started realizing how much power you could have over other people by using the power of persuasion, and that's how he started his own server called 764, and they're going to get
The
it.
group was run by a French user named Rohan and specialized in grooming minors for explicit content. According to internal reports from Discord's security team, this is where Cadenhead learned to manipulate children. He said another user introduced him to gore, and from there, everything escalated. He took what he had learned and started building a new server. The name was 764. Using variations of the name Felix, he dropped into chat rooms daily, spreading links, posting explicit images, and urging people to join him in more private spaces. When he was banned, he created new accounts. When users pushed back, he threatened them. He bragged about being device banned from nearly every email service. He said he'd gone through over 400 Felix accounts, 100 more just to get back on Discord.
Where's his dad in all this?
I don't think he had one, or we don't know.
I only heard mom.
Yeah, we don't know like the full history. We don't know if he may have been abused himself. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the times that this happens, it's because their kids are already troubled. The ones that end up getting groomed are ones that
Vulnerable.
they're vulnerable. A lot of them don't have dads.
Even Roblox had banned him, twice. In one case, he encouraged a 10-year-old girl to send inappropriate photos of herself. In another, he told someone who had just survived taking their own life to try again. When other users warned him to stop, he laughed. He bragged constantly, said his extortions were wild. Other users called him a god, Felix the CP god. One 14-year-old girl from Oklahoma said she was blackmailed by him into cutting herself on camera, even going so far as making her mutilate her pet hamster. What began...
So I saw an interview with that girl, and she talked about it. Like the tactic that they would use is they would bring in these young girls that are vulnerable and insecure, and then they would like praise them at first and make them feel like accepted, and then they would get them to like, they would start grooming them by getting them to send selfie videos at first, and then they would escalate that into, sending nudes, and then they would take that and then they would start extorting them, which he said, I'm an extortionist. What he means by that is like, make them do stuff like cut their name into their body. If you don't do it, I'm going to send your pictures to everybody you know. And then once they get the videos of them doing stuff like that, then it would escalate to like, he made that girl literally bite the head off of her hamster on live video for everybody in the Discord to watch. And he told her she didn't want to do it. She said she didn't want to do it, but he threatened to release all of her photos and videos that he had of her if she didn't do it. So he made her do that on live camera. Really, really demonic stuff. And he was still young at that time. He was still a teenager at that time. And he's getting power off of, finding these vulnerable kids on these gaming platforms and coercing them and extorting them to do a bunch of stuff. But also they would create these private servers that it was hard to track because there's many layers. Discord is their favorite place to do this because there's many layers of like there's a hierarchy there. Like you can come in as a regular user, but then they can create private areas where you can't get into unless you're invited in. And then they know who to let in and who not to let in. And but this is what Cash Patel is talking about that they're investigating now. This is what the chairman was bringing up, is this group and how it's connected to these killings that we're seeing, and how it's possible that this guy was involved in some of this as well. And just to show like this is how they're they're targeting, and their ideology is we just want to, like, we believe that it's the more gruesome things that you can do, the more heinous acts you can do, you achieve a higher status in their cult. So that's why they don't have any empathy. That's why they don't care about watching the interviews and watching the articles, and I'm watching, like, CBS did a story on this, and they interviewed a lot of the victims, the girls and stuff like that. They've convinced people to kill themselves on camera. They've convinced people to light themselves on fire on camera. They've convinced people to commit violent acts against children, against animals. They try to convince them to kill their parents, like all kinds of crazy stuff.
So demonic.
And it's just completely demonic stuff. But so a lot of times I think we are so we get so, like, pulled into this Democrat versus Republican, right versus, we don't understand that no, there's real evil at work here
behind the scenes.
Yeah. And why is it that a couple of people that tried to blow the whistle on this at first were being shunned and, like, pushed to the side and not being taken seriously? Like, that's also strange as well. You know, Kash Patel says that he's investigating this stuff now, but yeah, like, if you guys get the chance and you want to go down this rabbit hole and find out how they're grooming these children using Roblox, using Discord, using Minecraft, using all kinds of online stuff, and, like, this stuff is dark, man. It's dark.
How I was researching the true cause behind mass shootings when I stumbled upon a major rabbit hole, leading me to a number of online extremist communities that had been infiltrated by a rising terror threat known as accelerationism. And before you start typing angry comments at me, no, we aren't talking about the e-acceleration tech bro stuff. The type of acceleration we're talking about here is a form of violent extremism that works to pit the people of America and their respective political ideologies against each other in an attempt to spread chaos and accelerate societal collapse. Of course, this tactic of division, which is reminiscent of the Operation Gladio era strategy of tension, is already widely used by far greater threats than fringe accelerationist domestic terror cells. But these domestic terror cells have been growing bigger and stronger and getting better at what they do. So in my opinion, they're worth more than just a fleeting mention in an occasional news story. One of the accelerationist groups that Jade worked to expose is an obscure satanic neo-Nazi cult called the Order of Nine Angles. And in this video, I'm going to break down that cult's relationship to the satanic pedophilia network 764. These predators find their child victims in places most parents believe are safe online spaces for kids. They lure them from gaming platforms like Minecraft and Roblox and messaging platforms like Discord. They even utilize social media platforms like Twitter and Instagram, utilizing hashtags adopted by niche communities dedicated to self-harm and eating disorders. These communities serve as rich victim pools where predators hunt for kids that are already vulnerable in order to further exploit them. 764 is
Another group that they target is young transgenders and, like, LGBT furry kids and stuff like that are already dealing with psychological issues, feeling isolated, things like that.
only one such group in a sprawling network of interrelated communities known as COM. When placed on a mind map, COM looks more like an octopus than an organized network of splinter cells, with tentacles that encompass a wide range of cybercriminal activity. There's Hacking COM, full of script kiddies willing to dox, SWAT, and commit other cybercrimes for money. They may, for example, call in a bomb threat to a school for a disgruntled student who was able to pay them. There's also an animal abuse side of COM. And then there's Extortion COM, which relies on the hackers and overlaps with 764, whose members hack and extort their victims in order to fulfill their motives. COM also has significant overlap with domestic terror cells. These individuals congregate on Terrorgram, the network of Telegram channels comprised of violent extremists that range from white nationalists to satanic neo-Nazis. A recent Wired article analyzed more than 3 million messages from 50 chat groups in the COM network, revealing thousands of users in nearly a dozen countries involved in various COM subgroups. They note that such groups have been growing rapidly since their widespread emergence in 2022, when only a handful of cases had been analyzed by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We were all too aware of this group. Even before the FBI released their September 2023 bulletin warning parents about the network known as 764, we had stumbled across some of these communities. A Discord server full of gaping wounds, disemboweled animals, and satanic sigils crudely drawn in blood were all telltale signs of 764 influence. Why are mass shootings becoming more frequent, not just in America, but all over the world? And why does the latest crop of killers differ so dramatically from famous mass murderers of the past? As I began to investigate this, I started noticing that some recent mass murderers weren't simply lone wolf actors. They were members of fringe online communities. Predatory individuals within these communities excel at finding vulnerable people and drawing them in. Once inside, these people can be indoctrinated into hateful ideologies and even groomed into carrying out attacks against the hated outgroups. It seemed, in many ways, like a cult, and I wanted to see if I could identify the charismatic leader. My research led me to some surprising discoveries, including the realization that there isn't a charismatic leader. There's no head to cut off at all. The new landscape of terrorism is rooted in a concept known as militant accelerationism, a collection of theory-backed tactics designed to accelerate the collapse of Western society. The aim of these attacks isn't just to kill people. The aim is to destroy our country. And while mainstream media would have you believe this issue is rooted in American gun culture, or white supremacy, or so-called far-right extremism, the truth is much more complex than they're leading us to believe. In fact, in some cases, the driving force behind this serious terror threat comes from outside our walls. The media would also like us to believe that the neo-Nazi factions in Eastern Europe, such as the Azov Battalion in Ukraine, are Russian propaganda and not actually threats to the US. This is the story about one of those factions, a satanic cult actually, known as the Maniac Murder Cult.
So yeah, I'm showing all this to show that like there's these cells of these cults, and a lot of them are not even on our soil, but they're influencing little smaller factions on our soil to pull out to engage in these activities, and they believe that killing children out of school or doing these things is ushering in the reality that they want. It's a death cult. So a lot of times we don't even realize that, like, a lot of these people could be getting radicalized by people that want to see America fall from outside of our walls. It's not even just about the narrative of it's the left or the right, or the left is mad at Charlie Kirk because he doesn't like abortions. It's just about, I want to kill somebody.
I mean, if you go deeper, it sounds like it's demonic and
It's absolutely demonic.
darkness.
If you guys get a chance, do some research on Group 764, on like I said, these esoteric accelerationists and what they believe and what they're trying to, how they're trying to infiltrate young minds in our country, all over the world, actually. But they really care about destabilizing the U.S. And just we gotta protect our children, man.
That's what the devil wants to do.
Yeah,
Use
but
them.
like the girl said, the girl that did those videos, she is like a private investigator on X. She's got a big channel on X. BX is her name. But she said, like, she was wondering why a lot of the mass shootings were not like the ones in the past. They were a lot of transgender people, a lot of like, non-binary, gender fluid, like a lot of these like weird incel kind of people. It wasn't like the Columbine people. It wasn't like how it was back then. And it's because there's this huge, like, dark underbelly in these Discord chats and in these gaming communities and everything where these people are congregating.
And even a lot of the trans, they're finding out, are autistic,
Yeah.
right? And some of them, I think, are just like, they don't know how to deal. I mean, I don't know if it's autistic or they're just very, very socially awkward.
Yeah.
So they, instead of dealing with that, they just, I'm trans.
Yep.
I'm different.
I'm
if
different.
if I'm different now, it's you're trans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the interview that I don't know if we played any of it, but I sent it to you guys. I watched it with Jordan Peterson and the young girl who was like 20 years old, and she found out later that she was a little bit on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm. And she said that she got radicalized online.
Yeah.
That again, they love bombed her, told her that they kept praising her every step she would take towards that world. They would praise her. Yeah.
But again, so you're finding a lot of these people, they're going into, what does online provide for you? A false reality.
Yeah. A false community.
Yeah, something that you can create.
This is
You're not dealing with life. You're not dealing with tangible things in life.
yeah. This was a post from BX right here. My latest article explores recent trends in mass shootings and reveals some startling facts. Out of the 5 most recent school shootings, which met the FBI definition of mass shooting, 5 out of 5 shooters were associated with online NVE groups like 764, NLM, MKY, or TCC, all parts of COM. COM is short for community. That's the overarching community of all of these smaller sects of this cult. 4 out of 5 shooters were under the age of 18, and you see they're targeting young kids. And they're coercing these kids to do these things. They're telling them, like, you have to do this. Like when you listen to the interviews of when they tried to convince people to take their lives, they're telling them, like, this is going to immortalize you. You have to do it. You have to do it. And they're doing the same thing with telling these people to kill these people.
Now, one thing I have noticed, and you guys touched on it earlier, was this. I'm watching a lot of people speak out on their transition and the effects it had on their life, and accepting that they made a bad choice. And like I said, once the transition had completed, they were abandoned. Now, those are the people willing to talk about the experience. There's a lot of people who probably stepped into that world, and maybe they're embarrassed or they don't know how to articulate. Like Jake said, not everybody has the ability to speak or should speak. So those people who may be on the fringe of, whether it's some form of autism or the transgender movement or whatever it is, those people now feel, well, I don't have the ability to speak like this. I need to find a group of people that I can connect to. And like you said, that is a predatory group that preys on their vulnerability and then indoctrinates them. You know what I mean?
And then gets them to carry out the things that they don't want to do. Well, they can't do because they're not physically here, but also it keeps them from getting in trouble. So they send out these people to pull off their agenda, in a sense.
And it's the same spirit that's over that, where look at how people are reacting to this man's death, to now these people are trying to find a group to fit into to carry out their desires.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where they need a group to feel okay. And then when they realize that they've truly made a mistake, because a lot of them, I've watched a lot of interviews, even though YouTube doesn't push it, it suppresses it. You could tell that they know by mutilating their body, it's irreversible.
Yeah.
They can't do anything
Yep.
about it. You know, so imagine that person who don't have the ability to speak like that. They are looking for other platforms or venues to express themselves.
And they're looking for they're looking for a community that will make them feel good about their decisions.
Right.
I want to show this because this is crazy too. Like, remember the old man that jumped up and was like, shoot me, I'm the one who did it, and caused a distraction at first?
I've heard about him.
So yeah, it turns out, and this is right in accordance with what we're talking about. George Zinn, the man who allegedly lied and shot Charlie Kirk, helped the real shooter get away, has been arrested for possession of child porn.
And he also is affiliated with 9/11 too.
He is. He's connected with that.
And
I've seen
something
that.
else.
A bunch of stuff.
A bombing or something.
They say he's a crisis actor. I don't know.
But it's just interesting that we're talking about these cults and what they're into.
Right.
This older guy is somehow involved, and then also gets caught with child porn. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's a lot of strange things going on.
Sounds very Aleister Crowley.
Yes. I was thinking about that when I was looking at like the Order of the Nine Angles and all that. I'm like, this had to emerge from Aleister Crowley because it started in 1970. So you're talking about right after the Beatles and all of that. This had to stem from Crowleyism. And it was in the UK, the guy that started it.
Yeah, the 9-angle thing looks similar to one of the Crowley, I don't know what they call it. It's like stars.
Yeah, it does look.
I mean,
very
if this was in the 1940s when it started, it would be exactly like this.
right.
You know, Crowley would be a hero.
Yeah.
You know.
But it is interesting that we showed like their agenda is to bring in these dark gods by creating chaos and death and destruction, and it did the opposite in this case. Because we just got done showing all those videos of people who are going to church now, who are finding Christ, who are like getting the spiritual awakening because the devil thought he was doing something.
That's true.
Yeah, because it's fear. But if you fear the Lord more than you fear what's going on, then that's where things shift.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the battle is won. Right? Fear
Yeah.
of the Lord is beginning of all knowledge. Fear of the Lord is beginning of all wisdom.
Right.
Fear of the Lord is pure.
Amber said it's crazy because last year and this year, a lot of gaming content creators connected with Minecraft, Roblox type games have been exposed as pedos. Yep.
Yeah, but I think Roblox, I don't know if they did it, but I heard that they want to have a dating option in there, or at least the company was proposing that for old, not younger kids.
For like 18
but-
and over, a Roblox dating.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard about that. Yeah.
A lot of these. I mean, to make all those games, these people are always in their rooms.
Yes. They're chronically online,
Remember
is
our-
what they call it.
Our cousin,
Yeah.
always in his room.
Yeah.
Always.
I was over there, not lying to you. He would be up till 5 o'clock in the morning on that thing, and then go to sleep and stay sleeping all morning, afternoon, then start again.
Where did he move to?
He's creating games.
Where did
he's
he
doing-
just move to?
Huh?
Where did he just move to?
Germany.
He just moved to Germany.
Oh, that's okay. I thought one of the guys was from Georgia, and I did see some stuff about Germany too.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
It's powerful, man. Especially if you indulge in this thing, the doors are open.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah,
That's where most of the kids that were bullied when we were in school, you know, a lot of those kids, for whatever reason, now their platform is the gaming world.
gaming world, and that's what a lot of these kids that end up in these, especially the ones that run them, they were severely bullied. But then they find these platforms where they can become the bully because they're not intimidating in person. But on there, they can become whoever they want, and in these servers, they become these. Like you see that they were calling him the CP god. What kind of god is that? You know what I'm saying?
Nude Master 5000.
But that's what he leans into it, and now he's feeling powerful.
yeah.
That dude, when he was 18, that guy that started 764, he got arrested and he got charged with He got sentenced to 80 years in prison for everything that they found on him.
Wow.
But the cult lives on. But he got arrested when he was 18, and he started
80 years?
80 years because of everything they found on him. I'm talking about like making young girls mutilate themselves, kill animals.
That young kid.
Yes, you saw him.
Yeah.
He was 18 when he got arrested, and he had been doing it since he was 15.
Wow.
And he looks unassuming. Like
Yeah,
And he was a troubled youth.
troubled youth. Started watching adult content at 8 years old.
And this is where boys, I know girls are capable of this, but boys, young men, they take it to another level.
One of the worst ones was a girl though. She was the one convincing people to unalive themselves.
No, I know, but I know girls. I'm not saying that they're
Yeah.
better. I'm just saying that this seems to be more connecting with young males.
Because they can feel powerful. They can get, especially if you can get young girls to carve your name in their body with a razor. He was doing crazy stuff, bro. Like the stuff that he would make them do on camera. Like the one girl that interviewed, she talked about how they made her put a knife in her vagina.
Oh, gosh, man.
Yeah. But
Dark.
like I said, the darkness thinks it's going to win and has no idea how God's moving.